Hello, and welcome to my integrative project, a literature review of effective spelling instruction that is aligned with the science of reading. My name is Erica Youngling. Spelling is a written representation of a word. It relies on a mental representation that is made up of letters that are sequentially stored in our memory. You may have heard that spelling no longer needs to be taught because of the availability of speech-to-text and spell check. Graham and Santangelo report that poor spellers are judged more harshly by their teachers and society as a whole. They write less overall and limit their written vocabulary to words they can spell. Inefficient spelling uses up valuable cognitive energy that could be devoted to planning, composing, and revising their writing. Many employers will not take a chance on poor spellers, even when the job has nothing to do with writing. At first glance, English seems like a complicated language filled with exceptions, but it is actually highly predictable. My research question: what are the most effective instructional methods to teach spelling to elementary students? Knowing how the brain processes word recognition and language comprehension, I wondered how I could use this knowledge to teach encoding, or spelling. Moten-Tolman four-part processing model shows us how word recognition relies on all four processors: how it sounds, the sequential letter combinations, what morphemes make up its meaning, and in what context. Building on research from Charles Reid, Dr. Richard Gentry developed a stages model for spelling development. Here you can see the stages a child goes through on their way to becoming a proficient speller. Using the search criteria spelling, orthographic representation, instruction, and intervention, I found 12 experimental, quasi-experimental, and correlational peer-reviewed studies which looked at the most effective spelling instruction for elementary school students. The studies looked at questions of explicit versus implicit instruction, whole word versus phoneme-grapheme correspondence, phonics only or phonics with morphology, differentiated instruction, and spelling consciousness. I reviewed 8 studies encompassing kindergarten through 3rd grade. The strongest results came from studies that included direct, explicit, and systematic instruction in phoneme-grapheme correspondence. Robinson, Coy, and Hammond, Trayman et al., and Miller et al. Suggest that teaching decoding and encoding together and using regular dictation of words, phrases, and sentences build automaticity in spelling. Beginning as early as 2nd grade, Devonshire et al. Found that students could use morphology to spell words. Studies by Silva et al. And Miller et al. Found that specific immediate corrective feedback resulted in better spelling scores. Little research for upper elementary school students exists. 4 studies examined spelling instruction for 4th through 6th graders. Significant effects were found with middle grade students who were taught multisyllabic words explicitly using a combination of phonology, morphology, and spelling rules. Using a multidimensional approach to spelling that incorporates word study, word sorts, and suffix rules resulted in the biggest gains for both average performing students and those with learning disabilities. Syllable and morphological analysis, including Greek and Latin roots, as well as teaching set for variability and schwa, produced significant effects. Immediate corrective feedback and strategies like visualization and teaching spelling consciousness showed marked improvement in spelling proficiency. Much research has focused on decoding and reading outcomes. Since spelling is not tested nationally, it is often overlooked for future research studies. I believe that more research is needed to inform teachers' use of evidence-based practices in the classroom. Some directions for future research are listed here, including more longitudinal studies to see if early instructional methods result in long-term gains in spelling. Evidence-based spelling instruction aligned with the science of reading acknowledges the cognitive and neurological components of orthographic mapping. Because the brain requires information from the orthographic meaning and phonological processors simultaneously in order to map a high-quality representation of a word, teachers need to be highly trained in linguistics. Spelling necessitates this high-quality representation, which focuses not only on pronunciation, but a complex understanding of spelling rules, word origins, morphemic elements, sequence, and acceptable letter combinations. Those who are good readers are not always good spellers, but good spellers almost always are good readers and writers. This knowledge demands that district, state, and teacher preparation programs train their teachers in the complexities of the English language in order to facilitate strong student spelling in school and beyond.